What's going on, guys? I'm Bergs, that's Longy, and this is NRL Last Minute Madness. What's happening, guys? Bergs and Longy here from the Casual Athlete, back to hit you again with our Last Minute Madness, where we go through our tips, we go through our fantasy advice, and we make some big predictions via the TBC Live app that you can download in the description below. And we have a big card on for round 4. But Longy, how was round 3 for you, mate? Did you get anything right? How'd you go in the tipping? I see you're actually above me, which is not great considering I do the tipping on this channel. But
did you get anything right? Feels a bit passive aggressive. Yes, I did. I love a bit of an upset here and there, and I've pulled a few. The week before was better for me, but yeah, a few nice predictions on the scoring as well. Had a few big scores. Jamie Humphries, 70 plus, and some other ones there. And I'm keen to tear into this week.
Yeah, definitely. A bit of a return to the norm last week. I think a few more favourites got up than expected, and that didn't work out well for me.
Titans were outsiders.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I only got 5 out of 8 last week, though, and you know, in a normal week, I'd take that, but a lot of people got 6, 7, and a lot of people got 8 as well. But let's crack on to round 4 tips. And the first game we have is at Accor Stadium on Thursday night, where we have the Rabbitohs taking on the Penrith Panthers. Now, this Panthers side, a little bit down on troops at the moment. Cleary obviously out for this game, but they have won 6 out of the last 7 games against the Rabbitohs since the 2021 grand final. But Wayne Bennett is back at the helm, and I think that, for me, sparks a little bit of intrigue around this game, and surely Wayne is looking for a bit of revenge.
Yeah, the tipping is insanity for this one. So 83% of people are going Panthers on name alone. They're missing Nathan Cleary, like you said. South Sydney haven't been bad. They've had a couple of wins this year, right? So they're at home. I'll be taking South 100%. Wow. It's a 5-point tip for a game that's a real coin toss. It's a coin toss game. Like, it could go either way. 5 points for South, 1.2 for Penrith. If you take Penrith, you're off your rocker.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are taking Penrith's form without Cleary for 70 minutes last week into this week. And they've got to understand that it's maybe a bit of a different game. And we don't know anything about how Trent Tolau is going to play, and he's set to suit up in the 7 jersey this week. A bit weird for me. But the matchup that I have identified for this game is that right side attack for Penrith, and it will be Tungo and Alamotti on the wing, taking on a returning Alex Johnston and Jack Whiten this week, who is also back into the team after suspension. I'm actually going to get on Penrith this week. I'm going to go against you in this one. I just feel like the Bunnies, they overperformed round 1, round 2, and got a little humbling last week against the Sharks. Scored some late tries.
It wasn't close.
Yeah, they scored some late tries. It didn't really matter too much. But Humphries, once again, still going quite strong. And I'm going to throw to you for your big prediction for this game.
Jenkins, easy one. Other side of the field, up against Tass. 35-plus fantasy points, and everyone who buys him will be pleasantly surprised.
Interesting. Jenkins obviously switching positions from last week. Had a great game last week. I think a lot of people would have been, happy that he's in the team.
Mixed bag, but he worked hard.
Yeah, definitely worked hard. I'm actually going to take the guy who replaced him this week to get 2 try assists. That's Dane Laurie to get 2 try assists for me on TBC. I just think there's not enough playmakers there, and I think Dane Laurie can really spark something. Moving on to our next game, we actually have the Roosters taking on the Titans for our first game on Friday night. And the big matchup for this one for me has to be Siua Wong and Townsend taking on Brimson and Fermor / David Fifita. Can David Fifita get into this team? And can the Titans get a win against the Roosters? They haven't gotten one since 2016.
This is a tough one. I mean, look, again, looking at the tipping here. So 59% are going Roosters, 1.7 points for that tip, 2.5 points for the Titans. I see Titans upset. I take Titans. It's really straightforward. I think they're a good team. They lose Keeney, which is a really bad loss. And the Groot's not an experienced guy coming into that spot either. So I think they might struggle there, but I'm backing the Titans in, and my big prediction backs that as well. Jaden Campbell, 70-plus fantasy points. He's getting it done.
You love Jaden Campbell here.
He's the man. He's the guy. He's going to do it again.
Yeah, fair enough. I like that they've stuck with Brimo and Campbell in the halves as well, and given Jalen de Groot that spot. I've liked what I've seen from him in the reserve grade. Not the hardest worker going around, but he does have some flash. He does have some speed, some good hands as well. I am on the Titans with you this week. I was on them last week, which is good for me. And I'm actually going to go with Jalen de Groot to get over 156 meters in this game. I expect a few line breaks to happen.
Very specific.
Yeah,
156. What was the science that went into that?
Look, the 156 is because on TBC Live, you can only select 151 or 156. So I've gone with 156 and over.
It's gone with those lines of 5 points.
Yeah, I expect a couple of line breaks to happen in this game. The Roosters' defense has been pretty poor in recent weeks. And I just think that Jalen de Groot could be the beneficiary of that.
He averages 113 meters in reserve grade at fullback. So
he's going to have a great start to his 2025 season.
I've just voted against that on my phone, just as we were speaking.
It'll happen,
it's
all right?
Not happening.
156 meters for Jalen de Groot. Next game we have is the Dolphins-Broncos game. Now, very interesting with the Broncos. They seem to dominate this fixture. Yep. When the Dolphins came into the league, they won their first 3 straight. Although they got slapped last year out at Redcliffe, 40-6 by the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are winless. Are they hungry enough to get this game over the line?
If you ask the voters, they would say no.
Yes.
4% of people have gone the Dolphins, 95%.
4%. Wow.
That's almost as low as the Roosters against Penrith the other day, or Parramatta against the Storm round 1. Like, it's very low. And for that reason, I look at it and I go, you know what? Maybe there's an upset on the cards. Like, probably not. I'm probably going to tip the Broncos anyway. I really just think the Broncos will click. Like, they've been winning games on the back of looking very clunky and on the back of Reece Walsh not playing well. Walsh is a good player. He's one of the best fullbacks in the game. He will play like that very soon. It's a matter of when, and I think it probably is this week. So I've got that going. One prediction, I'll just hit you with that too. Payne Haas under 100 fantasy points. It's very bold.
Not a bold.
It's so bold because the guy can't be stopped. Under 100, I'm being very brave here. I thought about setting the line at 120. I was playing.
Fair enough. That would have been
so
bold.
Good. No one's going to vote against it because he's just so good. But
not at all.
Yeah, no. Look, it's more of a joke than anything. Payne Haas will probably go over 100. I just think they can't contain Payne Haas, and we're going to see him fly. And he nearly had a double last week. Like, he is just unstoppable, and that continues this week.
Yeah, they looked a little bit out of gas towards the end of last week's game. I think I spoke about it in some of my other videos this week. No, I meant the Dolphins. The Dolphins really looked out of gas against the Tigers, and have a bit of a weak underbelly at the moment. I do expect Payne Haas. I moved heaven and earth to get him into my fantasy team this week, guys. So I'm hoping that he goes over 100 as well. The big matchup for me in this one has to be for 2 former teammates going against each other. We have Staggs and Herbie Farnworth, who actually played on the left side last week, so they swapped him and Avarillo. I'd love to see them two go at each other, and lovely that we get to see them this week. My big prediction for the game is that Ricky will score the first try in this one. Going at Cody Nikorima was a little bit under strength against Seyfarth last week, and Seyfarth to me not the greatest of second rowers. So I think Ricky could get over in this one, and Adam Reynolds will terrorise him all night with some short balls, some crash plays, and no doubt Ricky will be a big part of
Reynolds has been on fire too.
Yeah, he has. He really took over last week's game. I actually think if he had not stepped up, I really think the Cowboys might have gotten out of there with a victory. And that's why I think I've got to go with the Dolphins this week. The Broncos, to me, really didn't play well for the first half, like at all. We held all the ball. We didn't really capitalize. But I do feel like the Dolphins have been doing a lot of that. And I really just, maybe it's more in hope than anything.
I think Staggs coming back, though. The weakness I've been hammering about the Broncos is the edge defense has been fragile. Staggs helps. Like, he shores it up. Dean Mariner, I love Dean Mariner, but not a particularly solid-bodied guy. Can get pushed aside. So
I just want these Dolphins to get a win. And get off the mark this season. Same with one of the other teams we're about to talk about pretty soon. We have the Dragons taking on the Storm in our next game. Now, the Dragons coming off the bye. Teams generally look pretty good off the bye, but they have a shocking record against the Storm, although they did beat them at home last year. Are we seeing any surprises for this game?
No, Jerome Hughes is a big deal. That's a big deal because Tyron Wishart, he came in last year. He was great at playing a running 6 kind of role. Cam Munster is the running 6. So, so you don't really have that halfback role, but then you've got Harry Grant, who's an elite playmaker as well, and they're going to cover it. So I think Jerome Hughes is the worst player for them to lose in their spine. But they still cover it. You know what I mean? Like, they're just such a good unit. They've got a good forward pack now as well, so they're not going to be fragile through the middle. I think they win that battle. The edges, no Meany is interesting. That edge with Valentine Holmes and Tuapolotu now gets to run at Wishart and Grant Anderson.
Anderson and Warbrick. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Katoa.
It's Katoa.
Yeah. But like that's not the most experienced defensive edge because you've got two new pieces coming in the half spot and the center spot. So I think they're going to find some holes there because Val Holmes and Tuipulotu have been unstoppable so far this year. So, I mean, that probably should have been my prediction. I didn't go that way.
Well, it's definitely the matchup that I've identified this week.
Well, go into it, man. Yeah.
Because I think with Meaney being out of the side, he's been such a mainstay for them. He actually hasn't really gotten injured that much.
Yeah.
Pappenhausen also takes over the kicking game, and he definitely shanked one last week, and it didn't look very crisp as it used to be. I think Pappenhausen used to be a very good goal kicker, but before the injuries, he probably hasn't practiced it as much. For me, I have to get on the Storm here. I don't know about you. I'm Storm all the way. I don't care how many points it is. What I don't like about the Storm, though, and I think I mentioned this earlier in the week, is that they seem to just get away with wins over the last 12 months. Like, it seems like a lot of teams can beat them, not that they're showing this total dominance that they can go out there and just beat everyone. And that was what I had against them going into the grand final last year, whereas I just thought they got away with a lot.
Yep.
I don't see it happening in this game, though. And my big prediction is that the Dragons will miss at least 41 tackles in this game.
Okay, a lot of missed tackles.
Yeah.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Dragons in this one. I think.
Why? All right, you have to explain why.
I just think that it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think
you just want the 5 points.
I like the 5 points. Yeah. So in a boring tipping comp where it's 1-for-1, I wouldn't be taking them. But,
fair enough.
But the 5 points is attractive. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout. I think Melbourne will be a bit sloppy without Jerome Hughes because he's been their guy. Right? You can't forget he's been their guy. I think Wishart and Munster will have some great individual plays. And I see this being like a 34-32 kind of game, like a really fun game of footy. I'm going to be watching this one 100%. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, and I think the Dragons will get away with it. They'll just score a few too many cheap tries. I think that edge we were talking about, Holmes and Tuipulotu. Who's the back row on that? Is it
that's Luciano?
I wish it was Sewer because that would really be terrifying, right? I think they're just going to win that edge, and they're going to get a few too many cheap tries. The Storm will look good, though. Cam Munster over 60 fantasy points. So individually, he'll step up.
Yeah.
But just won't be enough defense.
Yeah, Flanagan plays that side as well. Got a double last time out as well. So could see how that goes. I'm definitely not on the Dragons, unfortunately.
Well, there's another upset coming up here with the Cowboys and the Raiders.
Yes, there is. And now I'm finally
that one.
I finally get excited to talk about a Cowboys game.
Wow, he finally gets a bit of bravery about it. The cowardly lion.
All right, guys. To level with you, I am a Cowboys fan. And I have not tipped the Cowboys all 3 weeks this season, purely because of the way I feel about the team. However, we go into a fixture this week against the Raiders. We are at home. We take the cold weather team up to North Queensland, where they don't like it. They don't like the heat. They don't like the humidity. I expect a lot of drop ball from Canberra, although they are coming off a loss. We've won the last 7 straight games against the Raiders. So there's something about this Cowboys team that doesn't really mesh with the way that the Raiders play. And we seem to be getting the better of them quite a lot. And the matchup that I really want to highlight is Dearden goes against Fogarty this week with Kai O'Donnell and Matty Nicholson next to Fogarty. I just feel like the Cowboys can get on top here finally and win a game, but I'm just worried about Fogarty's kicking game again for us. It just seems like Drinkwater is still, again, bad at positional play, but I want to see us overcome that and be able to defend for long periods, which is what we did last week.
Cowboys?
Yes, 100% Cowboys.
See, I kind of want to, but I just haven't seen anything from them so far. Like, there's just nothing repeatable about what they're doing on the footy field. Canberra get Tarpanay back, who I think is a huge inclusion, especially when you consider how fragile the Cowboys have been through the middle. So I look at that and just go, I'm leaning towards Canberra right now, and I hope the tip sort of comes in a bit because it's 4.4 points for the Cowboys. It's only 1 for the Raiders, right? So hopefully that comes in and normalizes a bit. I don't know.
You're scared about losing 4 points to Cowboys tippers here.
I am scared of that, right? Because I lost that when I didn't tip the Roosters over the Panthers, and I love taking the upset in TVC. But I really do think Canberra bounce back. And my prediction for this game is Corey Horsburgh over 60 fantasy points.
Wow.
I think he leads the way. He's named at lock. He's been playing a bit of lock, but he's named there finally. He rocks up. He gets the job done. Smithies is out this week, so he's not there to, sponge up some of the minutes. So Horsburgh hopefully gets more of those minutes, and Ricky realizes, hey, you know what? This guy can play 70 minutes for my fantasy side. But I just reckon he rocks up. They power through the middle. That's how I see this happening.
Yeah, that is my one worry. But I feel like I saw enough good defense for long periods last week that I think we can definitely shore up a few of those gaps. For me, I've gone Maro Taulagi to score a double. I just feel like Savage isn't the best defender going around. I don't know why people aren't attacking Sav Tamale a lot. He's a rookie. I feel like they should go down that edge.
He's a weapon, mate.
Derby could get a double as well. But I expect the Cowboys to come away with a win here, and that will take us to our next game where we have the Sharks taking on the Dogs. Now, if I was to pick one game to watch for this round, I would pick this game.
I'm on the next one.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that in a moment. But for me, this is two teams vying for top 4 spots.
Okay.
Admittedly, the Dogs don't have their best side out there. Burton's injured, Kickour's injured, and no doubt the tips are definitely swaying the side of the Sharks. Can you run us through that at the moment?
Yeah, so right now everyone's on the Sharks. So 79%. Dogs tip will get you 5 points. Sharks is only 1.3. So yeah, with that, I can't tip the Dogs. Like, I watched them play last week. No Matt Burton, no Kickour.
That was ugly, wasn't it?
Yeah, no Carraz. Like I don't know, Sexton's out there doing a job, and Hayward tried hard. Like, he worked hard. So I respect the win for the Dogs, but I think this is going to be an ugly game of footy, and I think we're going to see Cronulla play down to their opposition in this one. And
absolutely,
they'll win by 14 points or something, but it'll be cheap. It'll be like Kale Ira will carry them. My bold prediction is Nicho Hynes under 50 fantasy points. Wow. I think that pendulum just keeps on swinging, and I think it's Trindle's week, so Hynes will have a quiet one.
Yeah, I just don't want to see the Sharks be dragged into some of the crap that the Dogs can drag you into, that like niggling penalties. Crichton's a niggler. You got Marnie's a niggler. And the Sharks have some guys that have a short fuse. We've seen it with Mulatalo in the past. He can definitely give away a dumb penalty, and
gets fired up.
And you're right. Like, they could play down to their opposition this week. I'm going to tip them as well. I'm not getting off the Sharks by any means. And
I agree.
I'm actually going to back them to throw at least 12 offloads in this game. That's my big prediction. I just feel like the forward pack is stronger. Although the Dogs forward pack has just been playing out of its skin lately in terms of pressure, speed. They get up in your face. They try to strangle you quite a lot. I want to see the Sharks blow past that. They've seemed to weather that storm from a couple of other teams. But yeah, I have a feeling this game will be close no matter what, because the Sharks love to throw a spanner into the works whenever they can. Our next game, which I'm interested to hear your thoughts on, it is the Manly Sea Eagles taking on the Eels, and no doubt the market will definitely give us an idea as to where the money is for this one. Surely the Eels are the favourites, right?
It's crazy. So for the first time in the league's history, 2 teams get a bye this round. Manly get one, and who else is on a bye? It's
the Knights.
The Knights, yeah. And then, Parramatta have been dropped from the competition, rightfully.
Oh,
look, as a Para fan, it's been a tough year. I'm really lucky that I'm into fantasy sports, because I can just forget about the Eels a bit.
Yeah.
I will not be tipping them. I'm absolutely shocked that 9% of people have taken
Parramatta. I think they're giving a little bit too much weight to last week's performance.
What performance?
Well, staying in the game and making it close. Like, making it look close is definitely different to how they actually played.
Against the Dogs without their 2 best players.
If you go watch that game back, and Dylan Brown threw away so many good attacking opportunities, and you just think that, if Para had been a bit more crisp with their attack or had a bit more polish, they would have won the game.
Yeah, if Para had a $1.3 million half, they win that game 100%.
Essentially, yeah.
But they don't. So, look, I'm not trying to be too bitter. I'm backing Manly 100% in this one. I will make a positive prediction about Parramatta. Kidione Kautonga will come out and score 35-plus fantasy points. I think he grabs a couple of offloads. I think there's going to be a few nice plays there for him, and we're going to see the potential come out. And I think he's a relevant fantasy option for this week.
Yeah, 100%. I've got DCE getting 4 try assists. He's also part of our big matchup in this one. I think he'll make a big statement this week to not only the club that has dogged him during the week. A lot of talk around, so maybe that's why the Eels are getting a few more tips. But him and Ola Kawatu will just have a great running against Dylan Brown and Sean Lane. I don't know what we're going to expect out of Dylan Brown moving forward. It just looks like he doesn't care out there right now. I'd almost drop him to Wenty at this point in time.
Dylan Walker, number 6.
Yeah, bring him in. No, I'm happy. Dylan Walker and Dean Hawkins. I'm fine with it. Our last game of the round is the Tigers taking on the Warriors out at Campbelltown. Campbelltown, not a happy hunting ground for the Tigers, although I will assume that they are going to be favourites in this game, which I think is a little bit of a mistake. I kind of felt like the Dolphins gave away a victory. They led 18-6 after 22 minutes, and they just allowed the Tigers to come back into the game. They made stupid errors, dumb penalties given away, and then by the end of the game, they were actually out of gas. They couldn't stop the Tigers, so I'll give credit to the Tigers for having better fitness towards the end of the game, but they scored 24 unanswered points, and you can't really... when you look at how bad the Dolphins have been this year, how much credit, how much weight do you give to that?
Yeah.
And I just don't think that they've been better than the Warriors, and yes, the Warriors have been good at home, but Campbelltown seems to be their kryptonite, the Tigers.
It's a tough one to tip because both these teams are moving in a positive direction. They've got some good things going on. I love watching both these teams. So when these teams play, I pencil in those games to watch them 100%. I think it's a 50-50 game. It's that simple to me. And the Warriors are 2.8 points. The Tigers are 1.6. So I'm going to take the outsider. It's really simple.
Yeah.
Warriors is an easy tip for me there. But if you like the Tigers, I don't mind that as well. I do like one Tiger, Terrell May, over 80 fantasy points in this game. I think he's been floating around that sort of low 70s area. I think he finally has that breakout game this week and is a viable captain option for this round, even with how good Payne Haas is.
So interesting. You think Terrell May will have a field day, but Tigers will lose. Is that what you're going with?
Terrell May's field day isn't necessarily try assists, that kind of thing. I'm more thinking that they're going to be relatively constricted by the Warriors, and he's going to be trying things more. So more offloads, offloads to hand. It's like 4 points an offload. A few more tackle breaks, like him playing a bit creatively. We have Coruscant in there as well, who was electric last week. It's only a matter of time before that combines with Terrell May.
Again, I'm not seeing enough out of Luai still. I don't know whether it's part of their game plan to just have him kick a lot and not really be on the end of attacking plays. It seems to be a lot of Galvin, a lot of Coruscant scheming out a dummy half to set up some middle forwards. Not really sure what the plan is for Luai, considering they paid him $1.2 million. I would have expected to see more, and I'm just not seeing it right now.
There's a pretty simple thing you do here, right? So you tell Jerome Luai, hey, have 100 meters at the end of the game. Running the ball.
Just not even getting close to that, though.
Yeah, no, he's not even close.
Yeah.
He's at maybe halfway there. But you tell him that, and then Luai is such a good player that if he does that, he's going to create things. They're just going to happen. And he's not taking those shots is the issue. You're right. They're structural. It's not working.
They're kind of getting away with it because they're winning too. So they almost think that exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they've beaten two teams who are terrible, and they're getting away with it and probably thinking that nothing's wrong right now. I'd guarantee that will shift in the next couple of weeks when they play some harder teams. For the matchup in this one, I've got Metcalf and Capewell taking on Luai, taking on Galvin and Seyfarth. Seyfarth had a pretty good game last week. Hit a hole pretty nicely. And I'm also going to get on the Warriors, and my big prediction is that they will make less than 6 errors in this game. They are the best team in the competition as far as completion rate. So maybe not the boldest prediction.
Less than 6?
Less than 6 is pretty crazy.
Okay, I think it might be a bit scrappier than that, but I think we'll see a fun game.
Yeah.
I think, I'm keen to see, Leotow run out. Stafford Toa has been in good form, but Leotow is a guy I'm watching closely, and I've got him in our Supercoach.
Well, the interesting thing for me will be Leotow shifting sides, because I think he'll play left this week because Rocco Berry seems to be a specialist right centre. So he might move across.
He's been killing it,
be with Tane Tulpiki. Yeah. He's been killing it, but I almost think that there's more attacking options on the left where Metcalf is. Okay. So he could be the beneficiary of that.
Steps up, yeah. All right, well, there we go. We got the Warriors.
So, guys, that's it for our tips, predictions, and fantasy analysis here on Last Minute Madness. I'm Bergs. That's Long In. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do so and download the TBC Live app down in the description below. Join in on all the banter with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.